Tony, Bill, Eric.
Hey, Mike, Tony.
Hello.
Hello. I see a lot of glare.
Hey, John.
Fuck you. Hey, I finally got you to see a picture. Holy mackerel. Did you shave your head there, Tony?
Just about.
Jeez. You look like you got less hair than I do.
Well, hang on.
I need a baseball cap to cover this mop. I'm going back to the 70s. I don't like that. Oh, there you go.
Well, somebody said to me, what are you going to do when you need a haircut? I said, revisit 1978. And they looked at me and said, ponytail? I said, no, barracks cut.
There you go. Way to do it.
DIY, huh?
You know, there's an old line that says the difference between a good haircut and a bad haircut is a week.
Hey, Mike, before I forget, I haven't gotten delivery yet from that grant from NRA.
Yeah.
Free ammo. So my guess is that they're kind of closed down a little bit for a while, but I'll get a hold of Hugh Grant or Grant Davis rather, and ask him what's going on. So
It's not like we have a hell of a lot of use for it right now.
no, we don't, but I'd like to get it over with.
Yeah.
Eric, I don't know if you were aware, we put in an application again to the NRA for a grant.
Yes, I saw Grant's email come through. Grant's email about the grants. I saw that
Right.
a week or two ago.
Yeah, maybe more than that, maybe
Yeah.
3 now, but I'm waiting for delivery to my place because it's the most convenient way of doing it.
Sure. No, that's good news. So what do you got up there on the shelf, Mr. Polk?
There's some top shelf is hats. What the hell
It's
is
the second shelf down all the way on the right, the white one. Looks like a white Nazi helmet.
No, most of them are golf hats and stuff like that.
Oh, maybe just a bucket hat.
Let me see what the hell it is. No, it's a visor. It's just glaring.
Yeah. Hey, Brandon.
How's it going, guys?
Usual bullshit. Same day, different place. I think no, same place, different day.
Yeah. I'll be happy when we're done having these, as I think we all will.
Somebody's got bad feedback going.
Oh, really?
Hey, Brandon, how you doing?
Doing good. How are you?
Just peachy. Tony, you actually look good.
Thank you.
Sorry for the clutter behind me. This is my ham shack. I got tools and electronic cables, everything all over the place.
Bicycles.
Yeah, that'll be going out soon. So I put the air in the tire, start riding that sucker.
Mm.
You ride from Elmwood Park down to Maybrook and get your car.
Yeah, I don't park my car there no more.
No.
Ever since the last time a car hit it and struck it and took off. So then I asked the chief there to pull up video from the cameras that are in the parking lot. He says, "Oh, we don't tape that side of the parking lot." I said, "What are the cameras there for?" "Oh, sorry, we don't tape that side of the parking lot." I said, "Screw him. I moved my car back down to 31st Street.
Where are you at over there, Bill?
I'm sorry.
Where are you at in Elmwood Park? Where?
I'm off of 79th and Sunset Drive.
Oh, okay.
I'm just
All right.
I'm over here by the cemetery.
Over by the cemetery.
By the cemetery, yeah. I know that area well. My parents are still over there by Grand and Harlem. Back in the 60s, they used to deliver newspapers over there in Elmwood Park for the Chicago American.
Hey, do you remember a guy named Lee Lockname?
Lockney.
He's the trumpet player for Chicago.
You know, yeah, I was gonna say, the name sounded familiar to me.
Yeah, he lives 4 houses away from me. Or his,
Really?
hey,
Okay,
let me take that back. His sister lives there now in the house that he grew up in.
all right,
John,
yeah.
early 70s, were they running the agency for the Chicago Today?
Actually, I stopped delivering was in 69 or 70.
Okay.
69, I think it was. They had a small agency on 73rd
Just
Court, I
north,
think it was, just by
just
Grand
north of
Avenue.
Grand.
Yeah, across the street from a bakery.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
When I
where
was-
we're at.
I had 74th Avenue from Fullerton to North Avenue.
No shit, I had 75th, well, you have Court and Avenue, I had 75th Court.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Yeah. Yeah, I was a Chicago American, and then they had, I think my last year I was doing was Chicago Today,
Yeah.
but
My little brother had your old, no, he had 75th Avenue.
did you have husband and
Billy,
wife
yeah,
that
yeah,
was
wait.
like from Alabama or someplace down south that ran it?
I
remember
just
that?
remember a husband and wife.
Yeah, that might have been the same people. Small world.
Hey, Billy.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, Bill.
John and I are
Yeah.
talking about early jobs.
Yeah, I heard that. Did they even have cards in, or everything?
No,
was
we-
delivered in
We
bike?
delivered the newspapers from our bicycles.
Did you have the little bike hat too on? Made out of paper.
No,
No.
I used to
that
do
was,
that.
that was if you worked in the print shop.
Yeah. Did you have to wear knickers to deliver the paper?
No, Billy.
I
know where you live.
Street corner.
Good friend of mine growing up, his dad worked in the delivery for Chicago Daily News. So
Okay.
he was always giving away free t-shirts and the delivery bags, and everybody in our neighborhood was running around with Chicago Daily News stuff all the time.
All that, huh? No kidding. I bought a
Hey, Tony,
bike
fix
back,
your
I
camera.
don't know, 66, 67, whatever it was. Twin place in Oak Park on Harlem Avenue. And what it had was a heavy duty bike, had the basket, not like a flat thing.
Yeah.
And on the handlebars, it had 2 aluminum hooks. So the bags that you have
Right.
for delivering newspapers, you put a bag on there, take the strap, you bring it around and wrap it around the hooks. And I went from Fullerton to North Avenue myself.
Hey, there's Glenn. Hi,
Hey,
Glenn.
Glenn.
Hi there.
How are we?
All right.
Dean's got a nameplate down on my corner here, but he doesn't have a picture yet.
Yeah, I think he's waiting for his wife to get him hooked up.
There's an opening there. You could drive a freaking truck.
I wasn't gonna say nothing. I was always taught to respect my elders. Most of you guys, except for one, is my elders, I think. Maybe 2.
How you doing, Tony?
Hi.
You feeling okay?
Yep.
Hmm.
All right, we got 6 people on the YouTube stream and 2 in the Zoom room.
Yeah, Mike, I did that for, I think, 3 years or so, when I was in grammar school and the first year of high school. And the next 2 years, sophomore and junior in high school, I went to Montclair Theater. I worked over there as an usher. And then the last year I worked over at Ablin over there on the corner of Grand and Harlem, the drugstore.
I went from the newspaper route to working at Cutler Pharmacy in the Circle.
Oh, okay.
I remember this will really tag my age down. I remember that the customers were incredibly pissed because cigarette prices had just gone from 30 cents a pack to 35.
Hey guys, how are you guys?
Hey, Ron.
Hey, Ron.
Hey, Ron.
There's
Hi,
Dean.
Dean.
when I was at Ablin there, that was in 72. You know, they sold a lot of cigars and all the other crap.
Hey, Lise.
Film developed.
Can you put,
They had a machine there for testing the tubes on the TVs.
Oh, yeah.
And the guys just come in all the time, you know.
Ron, where'd you get that flag?
Oh, a friend of ours makes those, Dean.
Has he got that shotgun shells as the stars?
I think he makes them however you want. He does all different. I think his business is called Custom Caliber Flags.
Yeah. I have a gentleman I work with that builds those also, and he laser engraves them with whatever you want.
Made out of like flooring, like stripes.
Hey, Ron, what's Rubio charge for those flags?
I don't know. It was over $200, about $200, somewhere around there. It was a couple of years ago that I got it. It's nice work. I like it.
An antique store down in Alton.
Hey, Mike, how are you? Yeah, you.
Which one?
It would be Mr. Bukalik.
Michael S. and Michael B.
Howdy, y'all.
They are.
Mr.
Go on,
Smith,
Mike.
how are you?
Hey, Rich.
Good, how are you?
Doing all right, Todd?
Hey, guys.
Rich
God,
and Ed.
Who are we missing? We're missing one. Who are we missing?
Glenn.
Glenn
No,
was
Glenn's-
here.
Glenn's,
There's Glenn.
Glenn's right under you.
I was at the club today. It was very quiet there.
What were you doing at the club, Glenn?
Picking up stuff. I did not shoot anything.
How you doing, Tony?
Jonathan's missing.
Yeah, Trice is missing. That's who it is.
I thought we were a minority short.
I'm here.
I did, for the record, put down Mandalorian for my race on the census. They wouldn't let me leave it blank.
I really decided to confuse them. I put down the truth. Austro-Hungarian on my mother's side and Polish on my father's side. Mary,
Ron, did you fill out your census?
No,
Hashtag sovereign citizen right there. Brandon, that ought to be right up your alley, brother.
I haven't filled it out either.
There you go. I knew you wouldn't.
the law says they have to do it every 10 years, not that we have to cooperate.
I'm going to put a big note on the door for the census taker.
yes.
Is that light supposed to be on you?
Yes. I need all the help I can get.
Oh my God.
Surprised there's no anybody watching us here. Things are blank.
We got 7 in the chat room and Zoom, and on YouTube we've got 12 right now.
I got the chat room open. I don't see nobody there.
You don't see it. You see attendees at the top?
Nope.
Nobody has typed anything in the chat room yet,
Oh, okay.
but there's
They're
8
too
people in
busy
there.
on the forum and the Facebook page.
All right, well, let's get started. I'm sure Jonathan will join us if he can. So we'll bring the meeting to order at 7:01 p.m. Mr. Smith, can you call the roll?
Mike Polk,
Here,
Mike Smith, present. Glenn Byers,
Here.
Trice,
I just texted him.
Ron,
Here.
Mike Bukalik,
Here.
Brandon,
Here.
present. John Conti,
Yo,
Dean,
Here.
Ed Jenka,
He's here. He just has no voice, no sound.
Yeah,
I see him.
His machine's not registering a microphone.
all right.
Try to quit Zoom and come back in. Al.
Tony,
Here.
Hi, Tony. Bill Jones,
Here.
Rich Smith,
Here.
Todd.
Absent-minded.
All right, Bill Vest.
I'm here.
Is that everybody?
Everybody but Trice.
All right. So let's get right to the matter at hand, gentlemen. Yep, we got you, Ed. You have no sound or voice. All right, so we can't hear us either. Look in the chat room, Ed. Send him an email real quick.
Jesus, Bill, I just noticed all those dead animals behind you.
Thanks. Yeah.
I couldn't get past the Bill
All right.
hadn't had a haircut in 2 months.
Yeah. With a man bun.
All right. So we're here to decide if we're going to continue to as we are, or if we're going to try to open up the club at some level. I'm assuming you guys saw all of the letters and press releases that went out yesterday. Our question was raised at the governor's press conference, and an article just went up. I just shared it out on the Facebook from the Center Square about it. We did get contact Todd, talk to someone at the governor's office, and I just spoke to Representative Demmer, our representative for the club, who also spoke with the governor's office today. He is aware of our issue. They are trying to get an answer, and they hope to have an answer by the end of day tomorrow on whether or not the governor can essentially give guidance to us that we are good to go or not. Additionally, we've reached out to State's Attorney Amato, and I literally, after we started this, I got an email back from him saying, I would love to help you, but I'm not the guy. You have to go through the governor's office. He's kind of bowing out of any kind of decision, even though some other state's attorneys downstate are kind of taking a stand on this. I also included in the agenda.
Eric.
What's that?
Hey, I'm sorry, Eric, you said you did talk to somebody from the state's attorney's office?
I've been emailing the state's attorney, Amato from DeKalb County.
And he said that he doesn't have an answer for us?
He says he has no authority. Whatever's going on, you have to deal with the governor's office. It's not up to him. Even though other states' attorneys downstate are taking a stand, essentially saying, we are not going to prosecute anything under this. He is not making that claim or that statement.
Can I start with the statements then, or the input?
Yeah, hold on. So let me read you his email. I just want you guys to have accurate. It says, Eric, as of now, I have only seen a disaster proclamation and it does not cover any stay-at-home issues. While I want to be able to address your concerns, quite frankly, any issue you have with any order must be taken up with your attorney and a complaint directed to the attorney general or the governor's office. All right. So he's saying it's out of my hands, essentially. So, and then finally, the last piece of thing that I threw in there was another correspondence from our club attorney. Right. So that's really what's changed since last time. I have had a email conversation back and forth with a couple of the other sportsmen's clubs in the area, Downers Grove, St. Charles, Northbrook, a couple of which are planning to open over the weekend and hoping to not raise anyone's ire, but none of them are in DeKalb County. So that's where we're at. That's what has changed. So if you want to go ahead, Ron.
Yeah, so with the state's attorney in our area not having an answer for us, I think all the variables, this is what I was trying to explain in my emails, is our variables have changed. They opened up the golf courses, and that was one of the issues I had with reopening is, well, they closed and they made a special provision against opening up golf courses. But now that golf courses are being opened up again, you know, even though they don't list ranges and stuff like that, I think we're going to be under the radar, you know, being an outdoor club, you know what I mean, as far as opening back up. And you know, and especially now with the state's attorney not having an answer, meaning, okay, somebody does complain to the state's attorney's office, he's not going to have an answer for them either. You know what I mean? So, you know, I'm more geared to opening up the range, at least on a limited basis, you know, sooner than later, you know, at least for members, you know.
Anybody else want to speak?
I'll say, in light of our beginning dialogue, seemingly with state legislature, the governor's office, I think it's, as much as I hate to say it, I think if we don't attempt to play that out, it could be considered irresponsible on our part. We haven't exhausted everything. I know we've gone this far and it sucks, and every day more sucks, but really I'm of a mind to you know, give this a week or something. I'm not quite, we're in the same position as far as worrying about any sort of litigation against us as we have been the whole time. I'm not quite ready to hit fuck it, but I'm approaching that.
Bill, you had your hand up.
I think we should wait. I think we're very close now. Sounds like to getting an answer. We may hear something from the governor's office tomorrow. I think a couple more days isn't going to make that much of a deal. I think we should just wait. We're so close now. Once we can get the go-ahead from the governor's office, then we're in good shape. We're already so far into it now. I think we should just continue to wait until we can hear from the governor's office one way or the other, and then take it from that decision.
Yeah,
Hello, this is
Rich.
Ed. I finally got it working, but no video. But I can hear you, and I hope you can hear me talk.
Yeah, we can hear you, Ed. That's probably the most important thing. Rich has the floor.
Yeah, I'm wondering what a reasonable period of time to wait on those kind of on the letters that we sent. You know, I agree with Mike. We have to give the process a little time to work, but what is a reasonable amount of time?
I can offer you my opinion, and my opinion would be end of day Monday. That essentially, based on my conversation with Representative Demmer, was right before dinner time, so a little before 6 o'clock. He said he had just talked to Deputy Governor Mitchell. They were aware of our issue. He was hoping to hear back tomorrow, is what Representative Demmer told me. Right, but if it doesn't happen tomorrow, give him one more day. I'm sure there's a couple things that they're dealing with down there right now.
Yeah.
Right. And that, not that it.
They don't work on Saturday and Sunday?
Dean, did you say something?
Somebody said something
Yeah,
about,
they don't work on Saturday and Sunday during a crisis?
No.
He has to visit his wife in Florida.
Oh, yeah.
not bad, 10 minutes into the meeting before somebody mentioned that.
Hey, real quick, as long as Eric put out all the letters and everything to the representatives and the most important people and the big guy, maybe we should wait a little bit, see if we get any type of response before we open up the club. That's just my feeling. I go along with Mike and Bill. We should wait a little bit until we get some kind of response. If we get no response, or if they blow us up, then we can make a vote on opening the club up.
Tony.
And the Monday sounds good to me.
Brandon?
Yeah, I mean, I think I made everything pretty well known yesterday, but last couple of meetings, we basically come up with a criteria of 5 issues: our lawyer's recommendation, the sheriff, potential liability, our permits and the community perception and the financial situation. Based on the emails yesterday, like none of those have changed. So as much as I want to open the club, I don't see how anybody's vote is going to change if those are our criteria and remaining consistent in our votes.
And I think your reasoning was very well thought out and presented, Brandon. I appreciated that conversation. I think the argument is going to be that something has changed, and I think Ron said that in his statement, which is they are now opening other businesses which perhaps are being granted deference, definitely not due their constitutional protections as we are.
I agree with that 100%. I mean,
right. So the question is that now our line, right? Are we changing where that line is? And I can appreciate that. I do think at some point here we are going to need to take a stand. I think other clubs are already doing that. I think we've heard that talk, and I told you I've talked with a number of other presidents from the primarily shotgun area, and if we, and I obviously I put it out there, so I am supporting waiting till Monday. But if we do decide to open up, either we don't get an answer from the governor, right, or the answer is no, and we choose to open anyway, I believe we need to set money aside to deal with any legal ramifications that may come from that, number one, which means adjusting our project schedule, right? And if no legal action takes place, then it doesn't, and we can roll that money back in at some point. And number two, that does not get us around the issue of dealing with the county and our special use permit. Those are the things I think that would still be on the table.
And I agree with everything you just said, Eric. What I'm kind of confused by is if those are our criteria and we're basically, as Mike alluded to earlier, willing to say, fuck it. At what point does that change? Because if we're going to say fuck it in a week or in 2 weeks and go against our lawyer's advice and the sheriff's advice and all these other criteria that we did, what would be the logic behind not just doing it now? Now, I totally get it. I'm just playing devil's advocate there. But it seems like pretty much everybody's on the same page. So can I make a motion to extend this a week unless we hear back from the governor's office differently, at which case we call a meeting right away?
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have several seconds.
Discussion.
No, we're on discussion, and Mr. Bucolic had your hand up.
Yeah.
Dean.
Go to Dean.
All right, Dean, go.
Okay. First of all, this governor has changed his mind on several issues. He also wanted only 2 people in a fishing boat. Now he said a family can be on a fishing boat. Okay. So he don't know what he wants. I think the motion should be amended to say, we'll have a meeting on Monday night that gives them ample time to respond to your letters, and we'll make a decision Monday night.
Definitely make a decision.
Bucolic.
So I would say what's different from opening right now and in a week, if a negative response or no response, I would say the ability for us to say that we have now exhausted every possible measure that we could to legally follow the right channels to opening the club. If that's a dead end and there's no end in sight, there's talk now of the governor's office extending this thing out to July 4th. I don't know how substantiated that is, but that's what's different is right now we just started a dialogue with Springfield for us to then just throw that away. At least let us get that response or lack thereof in whatever X amount of time that we determine is enough. And then we've done everything we can do. So that's what's different, Brandon.
So do we want to set a date or a time that this expires unless we vote to renew it, basically? Do we want to make that Monday? Do we want to make that Thursday? Whatever. Does anybody have any ideas on what they think is a reasonable time?
Well, your motion is
that's where
your motion was for a week.
Correct.
Yeah.
But we can amend that motion or change it.
I say,
I motion to amend it to Monday night.
and I second that amendment or motion.
All right, so we got a second. Any discussion on the amendment?
As much as I want to move forward as quickly as possible and make something happen, is that a realistic time frame?
I personally don't think it might not be enough time for them in Springfield. You got a better handle on responses down there. I mean, I don't know. In effect, they got the letter, what, yesterday was it? Or Tuesday?
The day before, Tuesday.
Day before, all right.
Yeah, Tuesday midday.
With all that's going on, I don't know if Monday's a reasonable time. 5 working days, does that work out better? I don't know. The other thing I was going to ask you, Eric, is have you gotten any acknowledgement from Barr's office regarding?
No, I've got nothing back from them yet. Dean had his hand up again.
Yeah. For those of you that don't know Shotgun, Northbrook is opening up on Saturday. Northbrook is huge. They are like the Augusta of the Midwest. Okay. There's only 4 or 5 places in the whole United States that does what Northbrook does with Shotgun. Massive. So we already have somebody that's stepping up saying, we're going to go ahead and open up, and we're a big boy in the gun shooting industry.
The other thing that I will say about them though, Dean, is at least based on their website, they also have a pro shop. So they do have the little bit of cover of having a retail front.
But they're not opening the pro shop.
But
they have all their listings of all the regulations that they want to do.
I know, I saw them, but the order doesn't say you have to be selling things. It just says you have to have a retail front, and they do. And we're splitting hairs now, and I can't tell you that will make any difference, Dean. But I'm just right. If you're looking for a
I just wanted to
rationale,
point it out that there is a big boy in the neighborhood that's going against the order thing, to a degree.
John Trice.
I agree with waiting a little bit more than Monday to get a response from Springfield. I think there's just going to be so much going on that we may not get it. But I like John saying that about 5 working days seems to be a reasonable time. I also feel like at the end of the day, we're going to fall like into an entertainment category, which is probably going to put us into the absolute last businesses that are going to be allowed to open if we want to wait for that. So I feel like we are going to have to, at one point, have to open up regardless of whatever. And I think the biggest thing about when we do it is what's our plan and how are we going to handle members and how we're going to manage people. Because if we open up early or if we open up at all, we're still going to be asked to have a plan on how we're going to keep people safe. And I think that's going to be the most important thing.
So I don't know if you didn't answer John's question, Todd.
No, I didn't. I think with what's going on here, Monday evening is a reasonable time frame to deal with the governor and DCEO. They were made aware of this. The governor got it in a public way yesterday. The other part of it is, if you go back and listen to his press conference, before he got questions, he started talking about his desire to open up outdoor activities and went on and enumerated a bunch of them. Now, ranges weren't in there, but we kind of fit in that boat. And so this should be a hard stretch. And the governor's own words were he was trying to follow the federal guidelines. Well, if he was following the federal guidelines, we'd be in today. So we were making those cases to it. And I think that, Monday's a reasonable time to reconsider. Now, there's 2 angles to this. If they don't give us an answer, that's one thing. If they give us a negative answer, that's something completely different. That means then we have to take a hard look at, and Northbrook and other guys are going to have to take a hard look at, do they continue to operate? If they don't give us an answer, then we've done our due diligence. Like Mike said, we have tried to be the good corporate citizen, and DCO has been giving us bullshit answers up to this point. And that's why the letter was crafted, and to make them justify that they can leave pot shops open, that they could sit there and open up golf courses, that they can open up dog grooming retail businesses that are non-essential, and yet they can just completely ignore our spending on the issue. And I think that today the governor just got a federal lawsuit by some churches trying to open up them. You know, how many lawsuits does he want to open up on this front, you know, before it's, you know, insurmountable? I think that reconvening on Monday to discuss whatever answer or lack of answer we get would be a good time, you know, to sit down and evaluate where we are. You know, I've got people reaching out to the Mr. Barr's office. We've reached out to the governor. We're reaching out to everybody we can. And that's about, you know, they can move mountains fast if they want to.
That answer your question, John?
I think so, yeah. I say, Todd has the most feel for down there. And he's right. I mean, if they want to accelerate something, God knows we've seen them do it before. I don't know if we fall into that bracket, but the point taken.
The other interesting thing that came up just today was the church up near DeKalb, I believe it is, who was issued a cease and desist, and he says he's going to move ahead anyway. And the governor's response, you know, they asked him, you know, are you going to, I can't remember how they worded it, but essentially, are you going to shut it down? Just, well, we're not going to rush in there and, you know, send a bunch of cops into a church. But I'm telling you, when this is all over, people are going to be held accountable. Essentially, that's what his message was. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't do that. I just want everybody to go into whatever decision we make eyes open. That's all. Yeah, Ron.
Yeah, so I think Monday is a reasonable amount of time, because during this crisis with his stay-at-home order, every day is a working day, and we have done our due diligence. We've sent letters, we've made our phone calls, you know, and like I was trying to explain, the variables have changed. And Saturday is going to be a beautiful day. They're not going to be able to contain everybody in the house. The forest preserves, I don't care if county closes the parking lots or not, they're going to be full of people, you know, and we're a private entity. You know, if we restricted to just members, I think we're going to be under the radar on this one. And I think Monday night is a reasonable amount of time, you know, to let them get a hold of us. And, you know, if they don't, then we make our decision. We've done our due diligence, you know.
Mr. Polk.
I would point out to you that we already know that there are people in Waterman who, as soon as they hear that first shot, are to be on the phone to the sheriff. I'm in favor of continuing this whole mess till Monday, but we're not a church. You know, we're not living in the parking lot. That first cap is going to, you know, because it's already happened. It happened when we were limited to members only a few weeks ago.
Did you ever get any other follow-up on your inquiry on that, Ron? No?
He's muted at the moment.
Sorry, no, I did not.
All right, thanks.
Like I said, I called that day. I sent you an email.
Yeah.
And they referred me to the state's attorney's office. You know.
All right.
And the guy is Bauer or something, or Dower.
All right.
He never returned my phone call, and I called him twice.
So we could find out, but we'd have to FOIA for the information.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. All right. So the last thing, so we've got an amendment to the motion on the floor. We're in discussion. Can you read back that amendment, Mr. Smith?
Yeah, so Brandon's original one was to delay opening the ASC facility for 1 week, May 7th. Second, then discussion, then there was an amendment to the motion to change the deadline to this coming Monday, and that would be
May 1st.
No.
Star Wars
tomorrow's
Day.
the 1st, May 4th.
Well, but the amendment sounds like it was the same as the original motion.
Change the deadline.
May 4th, yeah.
So the amendment is to move it to the 4th.
To my understanding, correct.
All right.
So
Dean,
can I just,
I thought,
hold up. Dean?
I would like to amend the amendment.
Oh,
to
Jesus.
include- To allow fishing, because we forgot about fishing, guys.
I
That's allowed.
was gonna bring that up.
Can we do that separate?
So can I just read off the amendment right now so that we know what we're voting on?
So who moved the amendment?
Dean had an amendment to
All right,
Brandon's.
To Brandon's motion. So what do you want to say, Brandon?
I was just gonna read it off, including what Dean said, to say that the extension shall last until Monday at 5 PM, in which case the closure will expire unless we reconvene and vote to keep it closed. But as of right now, fishing will be open.
As of right now.
As of the vote. It will
As
be
of,
open.
as of tomorrow morning.
As of tomorrow morning, that'll be fine for the fishing.
According to the governor, May 1st, fishing is allowed.
I'm sorry, who said that?
Bill,
Bill Vest.
What'd you say, Bill?
according to the governor's decree, May 1st, fishing is allowed.
Yes, it is. So the next question becomes, are we at the place where we could allow fishing immediately tomorrow? Is there any logistical reason why that would not be a good idea? Right, if we grant access to fishing, we don't have to change any of the gates. We might have more than average parking along the road there, but
All Ross would have to do is take down the 2 signs that say that part of the club is closed. That would take him 5 minutes.
and put up a new sign saying maintain social distancing, please. Right?
Hey,
And I-
2 people per boat.
Yeah,
Hey, Eric,
unless they're in the same family.
Right.
how about can we finish off this one that we've got open? And then maybe we address the fishing one on a separate one?
Well, I think they're related to each other is the problem. I don't think we can have a motion to close and then another motion to open.
Okay, how about we withdraw the motions that are on the floor and redo one that's a little cleaner without the amendments to the motion?
Dean, do you agree to withdraw your amendment?
I withdraw my amendments.
Brandon, do you
Both of them.
withdraw your amendment? Or do
Yeah.
your motion?
Yes, and can I propose?
Okay. So please propose a new amendment, Brandon.
Thank
Okay,
you.
New motion.
The motion or the amendment will read that we will open fishing activities on May 1st, and we will continue to remain closed until Monday, at which point the closure will expire.
Okay,
Second.
got all right, so
We have a second.
hang on a second, guys.
He's
Hang on.
making sure he's got it right.
Yeah, so Brandon, ASC will open fishing on May 1st.
Correct? Correct. And we will keep all other facilities closed until Monday. Is that the 4th?
Until Tuesday. If we're gonna go until 5:30 on Monday, we're gonna keep the rest of the facilities open until Tuesday, closed until Tuesday.
Okay, all right, so we'll keep everything closed until Tuesday, at which point our closure will expire. Unless we reconvene and vote to keep it closed.
Do I have a second? I have a second from Mr. Polk. Any discussion on that motion?
I like a point of clarification. The way I'm understanding it then is the wording says we would reopen Tuesday morning. Brandon, I know you were saying unless we met again to vote on keeping it closed. So it's kind of
he's trying to sundown
fighting each other, if you will, on it.
Yes. So
Because
basically,
if we didn't
the ranges would-
meet, if we decided not to meet, this would stand and then we open it up. A lot could transpire between now and Monday night for informational purposes on how to approach this.
And I agree, if that comes up and we'd like to have a vote because we think it's important to keep it closed, we can do so. But as the amendment sits right now, it would automatically open on Tuesday unless we vote to keep it closed.
Well, should we not reconvene to make
Hold
an
up.
official?
You do not have the floor, Mr. Vest. Mr. Bucolic, then Todd, then you, was the order the hands came up.
I don't see that there's much difference to wording it that way, other than it kind of sounds good to people that want the club open. like, oh, we're set. Well, we could be doing that all along. Every time we push our closure back, we could say, well, at the end of this, unless we vote to extend it, it will open. I just don't see that means shit.
I don't know what the point of that was, but thank you, Todd.
Disagree with the wording of the motion. I think the appropriate way to handle this is to sit there and say that we're going to open the club fishing opportunities tomorrow morning, and that we will reconvene Monday evening to consider the reopening of the club information we have at that point. We could get a letter from the state's attorney, although he seems to be ducking everything. We could get something from the sheriff. We could get something from the county board chairman. It seems to be a better position for us to simply reconvene Monday, knowing that we are opening up the club for fishing opportunities tomorrow morning.
Mr. Vest.
I agree with Todd. I won't have to say nothing. I agree with Todd.
All right. So somebody asking to amend the motion?
Guys are killing me.
Withdraw the motion or I'll amend it.
So the reason that I put it like that is so that nobody has to vote to open the club, just that our closure would open anyways. That's why I proposed it like that.
Mr. Smith.
I don't think that makes sense. I think we should go with what Todd stated. We have to look at this from two perspectives. One is our own membership, and one if we have to defend ourselves.
Brandon, do you have a response for that?
Yeah, we could always meet on Monday to reconvene. We still have the option with the way the amendment sits right now. So we could always call another meeting, but the reason I put it that way again is so that it will expire unless we choose to do so.
Is your hand up clicker still valid, Ron, or is that an old one? All right, he's an old one. Todd.
You know, all that's going to, if we don't open on Monday, or Monday night, then all that's going to do is put a false deadline in front of a bunch of people. And as Mark Twain said, a lie goes around the world before the truth gets its pants on. You're playing a populist move, Brandon. I don't agree with it.
To me, it's nothing about populist. It's about the board not having the liability to vote to disobey the order, because if we vote to yes, open it, we're voting to disobey the order. However, with the way it's set right now, we're simply saying that we're not going to close it unless we get a response back. It's just going to open without the board voting again.
Mr. Conte.
And what we're here for is to vote, right?
I think it would be better just to say that we will review this again to decide whether we open the club or not for the ranges. Part of me says that it's cleaner to do it this way, and if something were to transpire in the future, which I hope not legally, everything's discoverable. If we put down now saying with such a short time for a response back from Springfield, it wouldn't look good for us. I think it would look better for us as a whole to say, open up the ponds, but let's wait till Monday night. Let's see what we find out from the government, and we go from there. But not put a false deadline in there.
Mr. Vest.
Yeah, we need to definitely have some type of vote as a Monday or Tuesday, whichever day you want to do it on. We can't just leave it open-ended. The last official vote we did was to keep the club closed. We can't just let it open without an official vote again. That's it.
Yeah, Bill.
We can't leave it. We have to do it when we have another vote. If Monday night at 6:50, there's a tornado and we lose all contact with everybody, that sounds crazy. Then Tuesday morning, the club is open. And we don't want to do that. I know that sounds dumb, but I mean, that's when something strange could happen. We just need to have a vote on Monday night, 7 o'clock. It would take us a very short period of time.
It's a good point, Bill. Good
Okay.
point.
Amend the amendment to read that we will reconvene Monday night to vote.
Amend the motion.
Second.
I have a second. Any discussion on the amendment? Can you read it back to us, Rick? Mike Smith? Read us the motion as it would sit, that we would vote on it.
The original one by Brandon's ASC will open for fishing on May 1st. All other range facilities will be closed until Tuesday, at which point closure will expire unless Board of Directors votes before closure, votes to keep the range closed. There was a motion. Brandon made a motion to amend his motion stating that the board will reconvene Monday night to vote either continue or remove the closure status of the range. Is that right?
So for clarification, we are voting to open up fishing immediately beginning tomorrow and having another meeting 7 o'clock Monday night. Is that everybody understanding that that's what you're voting on?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Bucolic?
Are we not? We're voting on the amendment to the motion first.
Yes, correct. So any other discussion on that? Let's
Why
take
don't
a
we
vote.
just make a clean motion?
I got one sheet of paper left.
Use your hand.
You start
What
writing
are you
on the
doing?
ground.
Toilet paper?
Yes, Brandon, how about you withdraw this motion, motion? Let's try it again.
Withdrawn.
Thank you.
Somebody want to read a motion?
Mr. Rich Smith, can you give us the motion you'd like to see?
Yeah, a motion to open up the club for fishing only tomorrow. And we will revote opening up the rest of the club on Monday evening at 7 o'clock.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion that we haven't already said?
No, thank you.
Can I add an amendment just to piss off Mike Smith?
Mr. Bucolic, you better have something good.
As it pertains to fishing, and no one is opposed to that. What would we need to do as far as, I don't know what our fishing offshore situation is. If we get a rash of people in there and there's only one spot that you can fish offshore, I don't know what we can do there.
I don't know either. If we vote this in, I will call Tom this evening and try to have him draft an email communication about safe practices for fishing and have him coordinate with Ross to get us signed.
All good.
Mr. Jones.
Well, you've got 3 ponds that you could fish on right there. The big pond on the south side of the road and the 2 on the north. The south side of the road, it's been groomed a couple times. That is huge. You could have 50 people out there, all 6 foot of, distancing and never touch one another. So there's never going to be that many fishermen or women out there tomorrow in that short a period of time. I know what you're saying, but there shouldn't be a problem. They can park on the road. It's a road that's not that heavily used. It shouldn't be a problem.
But I think we also just need to show that we're trying to do the right thing.
Without a doubt,
All right. So if anybody else has anything else, Mr. Smith, call the roll vote, please.
Okay, Mike Polk.
Aye.
Mike Smith, aye. Glenn Byers.
Aye.
John Trice.
Aye.
Ron.
Aye.
Bucolic.
Aye.
Brandon.
Present.
John Conti.
Aye.
Dean.
Aye.
Ed Jenka.
Aye.
Tony. Tony.
Aye.
Tony.
That
He
was an
said aye.
I got him. Bill Jones.
Aye.
Rich Smith.
Aye.
Todd.
Aye.
And Bill Vest.
Aye.
All right.
Motion carries unanimously.
Not unanimously.
Not unanimously.
Oh, I'm sorry. One present.
Under duress.
Yeah. The other thing that I wanted to bring up now that is past us is we have had several members ask about possible recompense for lost time at the range. So I do not know that we are ready to do that because we don't necessarily know how much longer we will be closed for shooting, but it is something that I wish to put on your radar for a potential future vote once we know kind of what that looks like. Obviously, there are a number of different ways we could go about that, whether it be forgiveness of work hours, handing out of wristbands, could be cash back in people's pockets. There could be discounts at activities, could be free shotgun cards, could be a free action shoot. I think there's a number of ways we potentially could go about that. But until we know exactly kind of the amount of time we're talking about, I don't think there's much point in moving forward with anything. But I did want to put it on your radar so that when we come next time, it's not kind of a new idea for you. Did you have your hand up, Mr. Polk?
Oh, I was going to point out that technically that's not on the agenda.
It actually is.
It is.
Okay. I missed it.
So, and the only reason I put it on there is because it's related to this item.
Mhm.
Right? Related to the club being closed. So please be considering that when we finally do open, we can do one or multiple of those things or none of them. But I think it's something that we should at least consider. All right.
Got it.
Anything else for the good of the order, gentlemen?
Yes.
No.
Yes. Who said yes? Tony.
Tony,
Being an optimist, I'd like to make a motion that if before Monday, the governor's office gives us permission to open, that the president be authorized by the board to open the club.
Second.
I didn't hear what he said.
The motion is if we hear before Monday from the governor's office that we have their permission to open the club, that the president has the permission to do that with the board's consent right now.
Second.
Yeah, Brandon already seconded it. We're good. Any discussion? Mr. Polk?
Bill Jones,
yes.
where are we at with replacing backers and stuff on the west side base?
I think Ross has got some of it done. I could check with him tomorrow. You know, I've talked with him. I think he's ready to go. I'm awful close. The only other thing I was going to mention was how long will it take Eric Allen to turn the switch to get things back on?
Yeah, and I would not do that. I would not just open up the club without getting a plan in place.
No. I didn't mean that. I just thought about that. I mean, if you said we're going to open it tomorrow, I don't know how long it would take Eric technically with the computer to get the things back open, the key cards working again.
Yeah, and I will, it's just a matter of him, I think, flipping a couple electronic switches. It's just him finding the time to do that.
Correct.
Mr. Conti.
To Tony's point, it would be in our interest to know what the decision would be. If we're allowed to open, would it be for members only, or can we open to the public? Which of course would affect shotgun or any other events that are coming up. So, Eric, I know you'd let us know, keep us informed on that, what caveats might be in the opening.
And I would be happy to call a meeting if it was necessary. I think Tony was just trying to get it expedited as fast as he could, if I read his intentions correctly. So I'm happy either way, whatever the board is willing to live with.
Call the vote.
Call the vote. All in favor of Tony's motion? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any present? All right. So if we do hear something from tomorrow, I will let you know, and I will try to get with Eric Allen and Ross to put the things in place that we need to do to get open back up. All right.
All right.
And when we break here tonight, I will call Tom and have him make plans to open fishing. All right. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Have a good night.
Wait,
Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Smith.
somebody want to move to adjourn?
Oh, no.
I move to adjourn.
Ed, you're back.
Yeah, I
Ed
move
moves
to adjourn.
Second.
Wait, I want to add an amendment.
Call the question.
I want to adjourn a half hour ago. All right. Any opposed?
Yes.
Oh,
Present.
Have a good night.
Have a good
Night.
good night, buddy.
Stay
See you
safe,
guys.
everybody.
All right.
Take
bye.
care.